Hello everyone and welcome to Callsign Charlie Models. Andre here, and it's time for another inbox review, and today we have a doozy. We have the Takom Wings 1/32 scale Ho229A Alpha, and this kit just came out recently, within the last year and a half, and we're gonna see how it is. It's also a new branch of Takom Models. They just started the Takom Wings just a little bit ago. So we're going to get to see what all is in this kit. It says on the box it's detailed static display, plastic model, PE and clear parts included, and 3 types of markings, and also a figure included in this kit as well. So top box art looks absolutely amazing. The work of art is nice, very nice. It does have a artist here, Das Boot. Looks like it. That's what it looks like by the spelling of it, from 2024. And this is also kit number 32001, so literally their first kit from the Takom Wings branch. Alright, so we go off onto the side. We have two of our paint schemes right here. Very nice, with like a tiger stripe mixed with the typical camo, splinter camo of the German Luftwaffe. And then we have the other scheme right here. Then we flip it over to the other side, and then we have all of our plastic sprues listed with our photo etch and decal sheet right there. Now we're going to open up the box and let's see how it is packed with plastic. 1 second, the box is off. Alright, so typical of Takom Models, all the plastic looks like it is very nicely packed individually, except for the sprues that are double sprues, of course. But everything in here looks very nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get everything set off to the side, and then we can start going through the instructions, decals, and all the plastic. So give me 1 second and I'll be right back. Alright, so starting off with the instructions, a nice booklet right here. Fairly thick booklet as well. Looks like it's going to be black and white. We do have a nice side profile of the 229 right here, and also a nice little history blurb about it as well. So if you want to read that, I'll try to get it in the camera as well as possible. You can pause it and read it if you want right there. So starting off with the instructions, open it up. We have the read before assembly, applying decals and removing PE instructions right there. And then we have our parts call out. The numbers are not legible unless you have a high power magnifier to read those. And then we're starting off with our kit. Looks like we are starting with some fuselage detail, some framing detail in here. As you can see, just moving right along, getting all the parts in, and it says close G28 and then open and all that right there. So definitely going to have to make some decisions early on in the build right here. After that, we're working on our guns, getting our guns attached to the framing, making 2 of those. Then we're adding in a few other detail parts to that. And then we are, looks like our engine bays are going on right here. Then we're adding in some more detail, starting on with our engines right here. Going to be nicely fully detailed engines as well, all through there. And then we're getting our engines attached to the framework. Then moving right along, we have our pilot figure going together right through here, as you can see. Then working on our pilot seat, getting that in, and then getting that into the framing, and also the top framing assembled as well. Do also have a couple of decals to put onto the frames on this part of the build. Now we're working on our dashboard, getting that all done. We do have decals for our instrument dials right here, and then we're getting that all attached into our framing. And then we're starting to work on our landing gear. Getting our landing gear in. It does look like we have the option of having it in the up or down position there. Then adding in more landing gear detail. This is for the open option right there. So the previous step was if you wanted to have your landing gear up, and this is for if you're going to have it down. Then after that, we are starting to work on our panels, getting some of our body panels on right there. Again, closing or opening on some of these parts as well. Then we're adding in landing gear doors for the landing gear retracted, and then we have the landing gear open or down right there, and then we're adding in the top half of our fuselage with a couple of humps going on, and then also on the front right here, getting all that done. Then we are starting to work on our wings, getting our wing halves together, and then we have some detail going on to the sides, and then also our flaps and ailerons going on. Then we are going to attach our wings to our fuselage body right here. And then after that, we just have one last antenna add, and then the build is done. So moving along, we have our color schemes. There's no like time reference or anything for this when it was out, or if these even did come out in bulk. But again, a really nice paint scheme on this one. I am liking that one a lot. And then we have the other side with the splinter, or I wouldn't really even consider this splinter camo right here, but the dark gray with the green on that. And then we have the other one, which is also another nice scheme with the bear and red with the black kinda on that one. And then we have the painting for our dashboard, our engines, our seat, our pilot, and all that detail going on right there. Then on the back end, we just have some advertisements for some other models that Takom put out. And then on the back side, that's it. Up next, we do have a small photo etch fret with our seat belts. As you can see right here, get zoomed in. The detail on these do look pretty nice. With our buckles and such going on, but not much other detail to it. I do know Quinta Studios does have an interior set for this. I might be looking into that. If you're going to put the pilot in, I'm sure you're not going to need these anyways. Alright, so moving on to our decals. Decals do look very nice as well. There is a difference between the carrier film and the actual decal. It looks like the decals are a matte finish on those. And we also do have a decal for the checkerboard on the back side of it as well, and then also this one also. But getting the color match for these will be a little bit difficult. We also do have that special symbol broken into parts, so when you attach it to the model, you're just gonna have to put those two different decals on. But the rest of the decals on here do look very nice. You might have an issue with silvering on some of these, like these four right here, and then these four right here. I can see possibly having silvering issues with those. And also these crosses right here. Just the way that the light is hitting it when I'm looking at it, I can definitely see there being silvering issues with those as well. Alright, so now moving on to our fuselage parts right here, and the detail on this with the panel lines and rivets and everything is absolutely gorgeous. I am not seeing any issues. This is a slide molded piece right here. It absolutely looks gorgeous. We do have a little bit of a seam line to take care of right on the front leading edge of the wing right here, but again, with a couple quick swipes with your hobby blade and that will be gone. Just all around, the detail on here looks absolutely amazing. Panel lines, rivets, everything just nice and crisp. Even the little raised bumps right here all look very nice as well. Alright, so starting off with the plastic, we get two of these sprues. They're basically mirrors of each other, and we are starting off with the wings. And the wing detail on here with the panel lines and the rivets and everything look absolutely amazing. I'm not seeing any issues with any of the plastic on here, as you can see, and get kind of closer and you can see all the detail that is in there, which looks absolutely amazing on that. And then on that wing, again, same level of detail on that. And then we have a little bit of detail on the inside of this framing right here. I'm not sure if the camera will pick that up, but again, very nicely done on the framing detail on that. The plastic is nice. It's a dark gray. It's a nice firm plastic, but not a soft plastic. So it will sand rather decently on that. So on the reverse side, the flaps right here, or ailerons, again, nice panel line detail on that, and then on this one as well for our panel line detail. Alright, so moving on to our clear parts. Our clear parts they have one bag, and then they are pretty much double bagged. They are wrapped in this cellophane right here. I'm trying to get this off. Very sticky. It was sticking to the side of the bag as well. Just getting all of this. Alright, so there we go. I'm going to have to rewrap that here in a second. But the clear parts look absolutely amazing. Again, no issues, no cracks, no blemishes in it. I mean, looks absolutely amazing. We got a couple pieces for the pilot's helmet right here, and a couple of the navigation lights also. Alright, so up next we have our pilot figure. Not much detail to the figure. You can kind of see that he's in a pressure suit, I guess is what it would be called. Different pieces for it, and then the pilot face right here. Some decent molding in that. I'll get you zoomed in so you can see better. But again, pretty nicely detailed on that. And if you're going to put the helmet around the pilot face, you're really not going to be able to see much of him anyways. So, but the detail on the actual body looks pretty nice also. Alright, so now we're moving on to some of the fuselage detail right here, the body parts and everything. And again, like the nose section, the panel line and rivet detail is absolutely top notch on here. I am not seeing any issues with anything so far from what I can see. We do have the landing gear doors in the closed position and also the open position already molded for us as well. We flip it over to the other side. Really the only issue or only areas I'm really kind of worried about are the landing gear doors. Again, no ejector pin marks put on those, as you can see right there. And then for the landing gear bays, we do have a couple of ejector pin marks right in there, but those are going to be very easy to take off or clear out with that. And I am kind of worried about the connection point for the landing gear struts. I'm hoping that there's some stronger points in there for that to connect to. As that. We also do have some ejector pin nubs right on this piece that will just cut off real easily. But other than that, I really don't see this being much of an issue unless you're going to leave one of these panels off to show off the framework that you do for this build. Alright, and speaking of framework, our next route is our main frames right here. And as you can see, very nicely molded rods right here, no issues. We do have a couple of ejector pins to cut off right there. But again, looking very nice. Some nice detail right along here, as you can see on those. And then our engine covers, I think that's what those are. Again, nice panel line and rivet detail. We have some of the wing frames right here. But again, all very nicely molded. No issues from what I can see. We do have a couple of ejector pin marks on the inside of those, but really not going to be an issue unless you're going to open that up. And then we also have some ejector pin marks on the inside of these frames, but again, not really an issue because they will not be visible. Alright, so up next we have a double sprue, and this has our engines, the main body of our engines, and all the detail parts that are going to be going onto the engines, and also our guns and a few other parts right here. The detail on these engines, like the fan blades right here, absolutely top-notch, astonishing detail molded into that. Very fine fins right through here, if you can see those right there, very nicely molded on that. And then the rubber tire, or the tires on here, they are in halves, but they also do have some sidewall detail. There is no tread detail, but again, I'm not sure if these things actually, how the tires actually were on this. So, but for everything else on here, some very, very nice detail. We have the start of our pilot seat right here. I'm not sure if we're going to be adding in more detail to that. But again, very nicely done. Really, really nice. On the reverse side, not really much to worry about on this one, because a lot of this you're not going to be able to see. We do have the sides for our seats right here, some nice detail molded into that as well. Alright, so up next, on our next sprue, we have some more framing details, some cockpit detail like our control stick right here, and also our landing gear doors. Our landing gear doors, we do have a few ejector pin marks. They are very shallow, so they should be very easy to take care of. I'm hoping that they will pop up on camera, but they might not because they are so light with that. And then we have the rest of our framing detail right here. We do have a couple of ejector pin marks on that, but you won't be able to see them because they're on the underside. And then we flip it over. Our instrument panel looks gorgeous right here. Some nice molding of the instrument dials right here. We're going to have decals that go into all of those. And then you put some UV clear resin on there, and that'll really make that instrument panel look really nice. Alright, so our last sprue has a bunch of our framing detail right here, also with some of the landing gear struts right here. Those do look very nice. They are in halves. And then our wheels again have some nice sidewall detail on that as well from Continental as well. And then we have the mud guard right here. Again, very nicely molded. I am not seeing any issues of flash or mismolds or anything like that on this. And then the ejector pin marks, really not seeing any issues with any of that as well. So again, very nice. We do have 2 ejector pin marks right on the inside of this mud guard, but the main wheel will be covering that up, so it'll be very hard to see that if you can even see it at all. Alright, so that is everything for the Takom Wings Ho229 Alpha. This kit looks absolutely amazing. All the detail that's on the inside, sadly all the framing and such, you are not going to be able to see any of that unless you leave off the top half, which it does look like that is an option to do. Because the engines are full detail as well. Everything else looks absolutely amazing. I think when I build this, I'm going to leave the main fuselage on, but leave one of the engine covers off to show off the detail on the engines, because the engines also do look very nice. But other than that, that's all that I can say about this kit. Again, the detail straight out of the box looks very nice. I really don't see any need for any aftermarket for this, minus the seat belts, but that is only because I absolutely hate photo etch seat belts. I despise them. But other than that, the rest of the kit looks absolutely amazing. And with the seat belts, if you're gonna throw the pilot in there, you probably don't even need the seat belts anyways. But yeah, that's all I have to say, and I hope you guys enjoyed this inbox review. If you haven't yet, don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let us know if you've even built this one, and if you've had any snags while you're building it. But other than that, until next time, I hope you guys have a great day. You stay frosty, and happy modeling.